Hello and welcome to another episode of This Is Our Year. I'm your host, Michael Kurland. Joining me, as always, my partner in crime, Dougie Fresh. Douglas, how are you doing today?
I'm doing better than some of the Mets are, man. How are you? How are you out there?
I am putting myself on the DL or the IL, whatever the hell it's called these days, from attending any Mets games because it's not good for the health of the Mets for either of us to show up at a Mets game going forward. But
this podcast, man, we're bad news.
We're bad news. But we'll talk about all that stuff in a second because what I really want to know is, what are you drinking today?
Oh, I know you can't wait.
I live vicariously through you, sir.
Oh, well, I think this is a good one. And these guys, I don't know if you've heard of them. Maybe you have. Maybe it's a Northeast thing. But Sloop Brewing.
What's
beer.
Sloop? Where's it from?
They're in Hopewell Junction, New York. So like Hudson Valley, like Poughkeepsie area.
Okay.
And this is their, I think this is their flagship pretty much. It's called the Juice Bomb. Just a single IPA today, but still a very tasty beer. You could probably drink it outside if you're going to do that. And, because it's citrusy, it's got a flavor of American hops, as the can says. So another recommendation, Juice Bomb. So,
and I have a question. I have a really, really, really important question for you, though. Without looking, can you spell Poughkeepsie?
Oof, I can. I was actually, as a kid, I was pretty good at stuff like this. I could just see the word in my brain. Poughkeepsie, Poughkeepsie.
Ah, I love it.
Did I get it?
You did. I believe so.
Nice.
I mean, unless I'm wrong too. But then at that point, none of the audience really cares. It's one of those. Towns in New England that is spelled very, very weirdly. So.
Oh yeah, or all those Long Island towns, right? Like Patchogue,
Hauppauge.
Hauppauge, is that
Hauppauge is spelled
Massapequa.
Hauppauge.
Yeah,
but it's
good times.
Hauppauge. Hapagooey. So anyway.
Yes.
So anyway,
Dougie, cheers.
Cheers. I'm still drinking water, but I will.
Think this is a city mug, I believe. Trying to switch it up.
I believe that is from the. Isn't that from the World Series the year that we went? No, that's just a regular mug.
But recent, right? Like sometime we went last couple of years.
Yeah.
Anyway, if I'm allowed back, we'll continue to add to the collection.
Yeah.
If and when.
I think we're both not allowed to. I'm not allowed to attend any more home or road games, huh?
So you went to a baseball game last night, huh? And by the way, for the audience, it is Wednesday, June 8th.
Yes.
And we're talking to you around 5 p.m. So the Mets have just played their second game in San Diego.
So let me tell you.
How was it, Mike? Anything happen?
Oh, my God. Let me tell you. So every year, the Mets play the Padres without fail. The Angels, sometimes every 4 years. The Dodgers also every year. Dodger Stadium is a 2-hour drive from my home in Huntington Beach. And that's with traffic. It's not a fun drive. It's in the middle of nowhere. You go to Chavez Ravine, and you basically get to the parking lot, and you go to the stadium because there's nothing really around Dodger Stadium. They've never built up around it. It's not the nicest neighborhood. It's getting nicer, but it's not.
Sounds like Willets Point.
Right, very similar, right? So you get to Dodger Stadium early. You go in, and it's fine. But the problem with Dodger Stadium is the traffic is so bad getting there that you can't enjoy it. So I go to a Mets-Dodgers game. I try to go every year, but I probably end up going every other year, depending on how the Mets are performing. I went last year, shockingly. I regretted it because we got the shit kicked out of us. But this year I didn't go, and it was more of a scheduling conflict for me. But every year, since I've moved to California, 8 years running, I go to Mets Padres at Petco. I've been every year for at least one game. And so I made my annual journey down to Petco, which is my favorite stadium in all the stadiums I've ever been in attendance to see a game. It's just a well-done ballpark. Downtown, you have this whole nice ambiance of the downtown area. And the stadium has great sight lines. It's great for the kids, the pets, everything. They have great little kitschy, sponsorships from Petco. If a Padres pitcher K's 9 you get a free, dog toy from Petco the next day, like things like that. So they got it dialed in. And they have great food, everything. So anyway, we went to our game last night, and I will say, the Mets, I am pretty in tune with the team when they have it and when they don't have it, and I left in the third inning last night. That's how my wife did not enjoy her trip to San Diego at all this year. We actually drove home last night at 10 o'clock when we had a hotel, which I'll get into that story in a second. But yeah, first inning, Darvish hits Nimmo, hits Pete on a swing. Pretty sure we don't have the news back yet. I was there in person. Pretty sure he's got a broken something, because that was a 96-mile-an-hour sinker off of his hand swinging. So that did not look good, and I don't think that's going to be a quick recovery. It's probably a couple weeks. I'm hoping it's just a bruise. I'm sure you are too. We're all holding our collective breaths.
Yeah.
But
as of this recording, everything was negative, right? But they haven't really. I don't think we've gotten anything today, other than Khalil Lee's on his way.
Yeah.
A couple things. First of all, that's very Southern Cal of you to leave in the third inning. That's incredible. I don't think that shit happens anywhere else in the country. But
I personally left in the third inning because I had a long day to begin with. We get there, and the first inning, I apologize. Pete got hit. I believe it was in the second inning, correct?
By the way, this is the first. I recorded this game, but then I kind of saw what happened when I woke up. It's the first game I didn't watch this.
Yeah. So Marte Nimmo got hit. Marte, I believe, walked, hit into a force out, and then strike him out, throw him out. Strike him out, throw him out. So Lindor struck out. They threw out Marte, which he was safe. They kind of got his leg lifted off the bag. He was trying to push his leg down to stay on the bag, strained his quad, stayed out to play the bottom of the first, and then came out by the time the top of the second or the bottom of the second came. Pete gets hit, first guy up in the bottom of the second gets hit on a half swing on his, bottom of his hand, it was on his right hand on the bottom, right here on the fatty part where your pinky is. So right in where your wrist is. So I don't know. Not good, man. Not good. That's how you grab a bat. That's how you swing. That's how that's where he throws the ball from. So I don't know, man. But we left in the bottom of the third. We just weren't getting anything going, and you could see the air got taken out of their sails on the bench. Like the team just, they lost two of their arguably best players in the first 4 outs. So they weren't putting anything together, and Darvish was throwing darts, and Walker had a tough second inning. Gave up a home run to the leadoff guy. It was ugly, man. So me and the wife decided to go for a cruise around downtown San Diego, and
I don't blame you, right? That's Gaslamp District.
Yeah, dude.
Am I correct?
It is Gaslamp District.
I've never been in the ballpark, by the way. It's a personal feeling. I haven't been to Chavez or Petco.
Those are two big failures. We got to change that. We got to get you out here.
I know.
For next year when we'll do some live.
It makes
streaming.
no sense, but as you mentioned, I'm in LA a lot, and every person I know in there is like Chavez Ravine is somehow never really a priority for whatever reason. So I get it.
Yeah, man, and it was a rough evening, and then we walked around Gaslamp, and. Side note, I think we almost got mugged last night. Thank God I have a little bit of street smarts and pushed my wife into our hotel. But we were getting followed for blocks. And Gaslamp, since COVID, not as nice as it used to be. Not as nice as it used to be. Yeah, it's not a great area.
Oh man, so just a miserable night.
Miserable night. Hence why we drove home at 10:30 instead of staying the night. So that is where we're at currently. But after 6 games of this 10-game road trip, I'll drink to that because I definitely said 11 last week. 6 games of this 10-game road trip.
I did too. Didn't I say 6 and 5?
You said 6 and 5. I said 6 and 5, and we're only playing 10. So both of us will drink to that. But we're 3 and 3 through the first 6 games of the 10-game road trip, and I think at this point, if we can go 2 and 2 the rest of the way and walk out of this 5 and 5, I'm happy. I'm a happy guy.
At this point, you take it and run, right? So great point. I mean, I went back and listened to our episode last week, right before this, by the way. I thought it was a great one. Check it out if you guys haven't. But here are a couple of quotes that I literally dropped during the episode that now I regret a little bit. Quote unquote, we're all waiting for the pain. Here it is. I hope we're doing episodes like this all year. Nope. When are we getting punched in the face? Now,
So really, this is your fault, and I was just an innocent bystander. I was collateral damage last night. So I actually am blaming this on you, Doug. You ruined my San Diego trip.
I kind of want to blame it on you because you kept asking me how I'm feeling about this team, man.
And how are you feeling now?
Oh, we're back, baby. We're back in the shit.
Oh, dude.
We're back swimming in the garbage. I'm going to be instantly more pessimistic about Pete here. I feel like it's a 6 to 8 weeker.
Yep.
Isn't that what happened to McCann?
Pretty much, yep. Yeah, he got hit on the hamate bone, and that's pretty close to where I'm sure that's part of your wrist. That's where I think Pete got hit. And yeah, man. And side note, so we're at the game last night. Pete gets hit, and then the rest of the inning goes, and I couldn't even focus. So I turned to my wife, and I'm like, Alex. She's like, are you not having fun? And I'm like, no. I'm like, literally, our two best fucking position players are out of this game right now, and our two best pitchers. I was wearing the Scherzer DeGrom 2022 shirt.
See, that blame's back on you.
And I'm walking down the street earlier prior to the game to go get a coffee, and there's this group of Yankees fans, older, like 50, 60-year-old Yankee fans at this cigar bar, smoking cigars, and I had my headphones in, but I could still hear them. And the one guy goes, "Hey, look at that shirt. That's pretty cool." He's talking to his buddy, and he definitely had the Bronx accent. "Hey, look at this shirt. It looks pretty cool." And that guy goes, "And the back should say MIA." And I was like, oh, I wanted to turn around and be like, fuck you and fuck the Yankees and fuck Aaron Boone. But I was just like, I'm going to pretend like I didn't hear him, keep my headphones in. And now our two best position players are also MIA.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to. So Marte sounds like it's going to be a while too, right? Like the quad, that's always a problem. And so I was going to say, in total, our top 4 players are now hurt.
Yep.
Now, arguably, you can say Lindor, Nimmo, McNeil are better than Marte, fine. But as you mentioned, he's one of our best position players. Absolute key piece. And a guy at the top of that lineup who can make things happen. We were talking last week about how we just jump on teams, and we're going to miss that so much.
Yep.
I don't know if Lee or Plummer or Cato or whoever the hell, Terrence Gore, whoever they bring in to get up there, it's going to hurt. I will say, though, this team, unlike other years, has depth like it's never had. I won't say never had, but not in recent history. So Buck's gonna have to figure it out. Do you think Dom Smith is back already, or? I'm sure
if Pete is gonna miss any extended period of time, Dom will be back, and Khalil Lee will be the other guy, like you said. He was with the club last year and it's got some promise. But I think, you're going to see the lineup you saw last night, aside from maybe JD or Dom rotating back and forth between first base and DH, and you'll see Canna's probably going to take over right, and McNeil will stay in left, and Guillorme will be your shortstop, and that's going to probably be your everyday lineup until we get these guys back. And
absolutely. Yeah, you're right. JD and Luis are now regulars.
Yep, that's not ideal.
Might expose them a bit, right?
Yeah, that's not ideal.
You're going to see some regression.
Yep.
Although, maybe that's not fair to JD. I think JD is still coming around. I've said that like a million times already this season. I thought he did a nice job in the field the other night. I don't know if you saw that game.
I saw
or I guess he came in last night too. But I was talking about that first start he got, and I forget if that was San Diego or LA. I'm already getting the week mixed up. And yeah, man, this sucks because you know what? That LA series was great.
Great. It was a great
series. That was an epic series.
Epic series.
Mad respect for that team, but I think they have a lot of respect for the Mets now too.
Yep.
After how all that went down.
We took Walker Buehler and we turned him into Steven Matz in less than 3 innings. We had him yanked out in 2 1/3.
Yep. Made him work. And he is Steven Matz West Coast, where he gets can get in his head if he's not getting his pitches. He gets flustered, huh?
He gets flustered. He wasn't getting his hit. And the ump was his strike zone was a little off that night, but it was, fair on both sides for that. And Buehler Bueller was mouthing off to him, giving him a hard time, and by the middle of the third, he was gone.
And real quick on that note, Monday, same with Blake Snell, man. They made him work in the first inning, right? 30-something pitches. That's a guy who gets flustered too.
Yep.
So, man, things were rolling along. Just to go back, that Sunday game was pretty epic, right? It came back. Lugo blew it. Medina with the save. Good job, kid. The Buck with the controversial decision to put Diaz in the 8th against the top of the lineup, which I liked at the time, so I'm not going to second guess.
That was the right move, and that was a manager managing. I don't want Lugo going out there against Mookie and that Dodger
Mookie,
lineup.
Turner and Freeman.
Yep, and that Dodger lineup isn't as deep as it used to be because once you get past Trey Turner at the 3-hole, Justin. I mean, they've been really doing well this year, but I think they're also beating up on some of the lesser teams. The National League is littered with about 5 good teams and then a bunch of garbage.
A bunch of crap.
And I mean, we've been doing the same. We've been, racking up the wins against Philly and Washington, but
we admit it. We've been talking about that.
Yeah, but we haven't played anyone in the Central except St. Louis, and they're a good team, and we've played them well. But we've played all the teams in the West too now. After this, we played Washington. Washington. We played San Fran and Colorado and Arizona. And we've taken them all to task, right? Except
San Francisco.
Yep.
What was I going to say? Yeah, I mean, so to bring it back, they get absolutely shut down. Actually, the first 2 games, right, by Gonsolin and Anderson, like completely shut down. But then Pete busts out on Saturday, 2 home runs. Everything's looking great. Eduardo Escobar hits for the cycle on Monday. He's going to be a little important now going forward.
Yep. That was pretty exciting, to be honest.
It was,
and he did it the hardest way you can possibly do it. He got the single, the double, the homer, and he needed the triple. And he got a triple in his last at bat. And I was watching that on TV with Alex in the hotel room, and that was pretty awesome.
Watching with Jenny, not in a hotel, but you know what I mean. But,
yeah, yes, I know what you mean.
But I mean, even Keith was excited, so it was cool.
Yeah, and it's even more, almost as hard. It's the hardest thing for a hitter to do is hit for the cycle. And we haven't had one in a decade, so... Right.
Hairston was the last one, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, those years.
You want to name some more, or are you good?
Eric, what was his last name? Valente, was that his last name?
Yes, I'll give it to you. Eric Valent.
Eric Valent, yes. That was back... Those were in the dark years. Ugh.
I actually knew someone with a autographed Eric Valent bat. And they weren't even a baseball fan, which is the weirdest part. They just had it in their house. And I picked it up and I was like, first of all, it was really, really heavy bat. That dude swung some lumber.
Yeah. Well,
maybe that was the problem, but
he hit for the cycle, Gotta give it to him.
A bunch of I think Bogart, Tim Bogart did it back in the day. Alex Ochoa. It's something, it's just random. Although John Olerud, one of my favorite Mets, did it too.
Yep.
And Reyes.
Yep. Very nice. Well, so how are we feeling though, Doug? We look like we're getting Tylor back this weekend.
Yeah, that's good news. Obviously, it's time for the pitching to carry him. Assuming there's no Pete. Yeah, man. But right now it's just kind of shocking. And again, I listened to last week's episode. We were laughing at the Phils, both for their fielding, but like. We brought this on ourselves. We were laughing that Segura got hurt.
I don't think we were laughing, but I didn't think it wasn't good for their win-loss. And their Atlanta and Philly are now pretty hot teams.
Yeah, so after we recorded, Philly fired Joe Girardi. They've won 5 in a row. And lo and behold, here it comes. The Atlanta's won 6 in a row. So last week's 11-game lead is down to 8. Yep.
But... I think once
we knew this would happen. We didn't say we're going to run away. To be fair,
no. But once we get out of we got one more in San Diego tonight. Then we got the day off, which is much needed, and then we go to Anaheim for 3. And Anaheim's lost 13 in a row.
Right.
I honestly,
means
I hope they win tonight because they're playing.
Yeah,
Boston
exactly.
They're playing Boston the next 2 nights.
Exactly.
I hope they win one of these next 2 games so that the Mets can come in there. Yeah, win them both, and then we can come in and start them on a 3-game losing streak because that would be ideal.
Are you still going to one of those games?
I am. I'm going on Friday. I will be there on Friday. So
God, who's pitching?
As of right now, I am not sure because with McGill coming back and Williams and all that stuff, they don't know. We don't know. So it's TBA for both sides.
Are you getting Thor?
I hope so because I would love to see them light him up, but I can't tell you. I'll let you know next week when we record. But I'm looking forward to it. We actually got a box, so we're bringing some clients out to the game, and I'm going to enjoy the company taking some clients out. I'll be just glued to the field with my eyes. So
until Lindor's carted off and needs Bo Jackson surgery.
Yeah, let's not laugh about that, Doug. We don't need to jinx any of this going forward.
I'm trying to Costanza at this point, man.
Yeah, right. So, so yeah, the Mets. I still think we're in good shape. We're 9 up. Would you say 8 up as of this morning. We'll find out the news on Pete and Marte. Hopefully, it's nothing long term, and we're hopefully getting Tylor back in the next 2 or 3 games.
And then we got a good matchup tonight, Manaea versus Bassett.
Yeah, except
that'll be good.
We got a good matchup. We haven't done great with lefties thus far this year, but hopefully we can jump on them and show this guy what the National League's all about. And Bassett will get the W against his former teammate. That would be a nice way to go. So
it would. And just a couple of little odds and ends. Mark Vientos just went on the IL. This would be a good spot to give him some at bats, so that's too bad.
Yes. Short term, long term. What's the prognosis on that?
Probably short term, but apparently they just don't release too much info on what the deal is.
Got it.
So Marte is down. Is it time for Michael Conforto? I'm going to ask this again.
I don't think Conforto is able to come back, and he got shoulder surgery right around February. So I think
I always felt like that was a cover for some reason. Like he just wasn't getting the offer he wanted.
I think he punted on him. He's a Boris client. I think if Boris was going to get him somewhere, he wasn't going to. He would have lowered his asking price if he could have signed a 1-year deal somewhere. That's not unprecedented. I'm pretty sure he had shoulder surgery, and I'm pretty sure that's why he had the shit year that he had last year. And that's
all right. So you think that's legit? All right, no, that's fair.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming back this year. I don't think that guy's going to be our white knight. But there's plenty. I will say there's plenty of bats out there for the taking. Right. If any of these,
we mentioned Schwarber last week.
Who was it?
We mentioned Schwarber last week, although now they're winning again. But
yeah, and then Josh Bell is out there if we need first base. If we need another bat, Nelson Cruz. There's plenty of guys out there, and it's still early. We've obviously pushed through this McCann injury with the guys that we've had, and we've been playing just fine. I think, when you're talking about McCann and you're talking about Pete, those are 2 different stratospheres. But Pete's going to hurt. Marte, we've lost for a couple days for bereavement before. We played fine. But Pete's going to hurt. And hopefully this is less than a week. Hopefully we avoid an IL stint. But Buck was not too...
Prayers up.
Yeah, excited last night. Yes.
No, yeah. When you see how Buck was talking, you could tell it was bad for both. And,
yeah, he pulled himself out of the game immediately. It wasn't even a thing. Like the trainer was just like, "Let's go." And when you get hit on the wrist, man, if you break one of those bones are tiny. If one of those bones breaks, it's 6 to 8 weeks, and that's before you even start swinging a bat again, right? So,
Dom Smith, it's redemption time.
It's redemption time.
Write the story, Dom.
Write the story. Get going here, buddy.
But shout out to Pete though, MVP type of year, and God, let's hope.
Can we just not have fucking injuries? Like we got an MVP type year. We've never had an MVP on the Mets.
Never.
And the guy was running away with the National League MVP. There's no one even fucking in his stratosphere, and he's got as many RBIs as games played almost. And we played, I think, 55 games or 56 games. I think he had 54 RBIs. It's ridiculous. And it's such
Wilson up in here.
Yeah, and it's such a freak injury because it's not like, he got hit on the swing. It wasn't like it was too inside. Pete just, had his hand in the wrong spot at the wrong time. I don't even blame Darvish for it. And it just
that's what commenters were saying, that like all the pitches that hit the Mets last night just looked. That or they're crowding the plate, but it didn't look like Darvish was trying to do anything.
No, he hit Nimmo and McNeil on the top of the foot both of their top feet. McNeil didn't even try to get out of the way. I mean, his was like, if I was San Diego, I might have even argued that he didn't try to get out of the way. And Nimmo's was very similar. But Pete's, he wasn't aiming at Pete. It was an inside fastball, sinker, whatever. And Pete just, he brought his hands in, and then he couldn't get his hands out of the way fast enough. So
frustrating. And,
so
by the way, here we are talking about hit by pitches again.
Yeah,
so
we
we've been
lead
doing
the
this all
league.
year.
We lead the league by a mile. It's not even close.
We thought the nonsense was over, but apparently not.
Yeah, apparently not. So we got some other news. We got some other national news. We still got some finals of NBA and NHL.
Yeah, we do. So you've been on vacation. How much did you see? You see any? Let's start with the NBA.
Well, first thing, let's cover this. There's been not breaking, but there's news out there that Kyrie and Brooklyn are close to signing the 5-year extension, which we said earlier on the show. I don't see how he doesn't re-up. I don't think there's a way. We got people with ridiculous takes out there talking about maybe they can trade him to LA for Westbrook, or maybe we can trade him to Houston for John Wall. And all of this is stupidity because Kyrie's got control over his own destiny. He will go where he wants to go. He's got to opt into the contract, or he'll opt out, and then he's a free agent.
He's also much better than those two guys, so I don't
much
know.
better. It's all about matching salary,
right? Unless you're trying to just get rid of him.
No, there's
which why would you if Durant's still here? I mean, it sounds like both parties need to, make up, right?
I think that they will. I think Mark's called him on the carpet with the comments at the end of the year about everyone needs to be all in. I think that KD also, I don't know what side conversations he's having, and he's the type of person that's not going to let anybody know anyway. That's between him and Kyrie. But, he's the coach of the team. Nash is the figurehead, which Quinn Snyder was left Utah, and everyone's clamoring over that. I would love to see some Quinn Snyder in Brooklyn. But I just don't see how that happens. I don't see how Nash... And Nash, honestly, he didn't do a bad job. He just... I don't know what he does,
Right.
So I don't think he drives...
That seems to be the consensus.
Right.
Everybody loves him, right? But he's just kind of... he's just there. Speaking of Quinn...
get the ball to KD and shoot it.
Yeah. We might as well talk about the Knicks for a split second. Donovan Mitchell's kind of going to be free now, huh?
Well, I mean, he did not like the firing of Quinn, and he said that was going to, have him looking at everything this offseason. And he's pretty close with one of the assistant coaches on the Knicks, from what I hear. So what I've heard is the guy, I can't think of his name, may be in line for the Utah coaching position to keep Donovan in place. But as we all know, Donovan has New York roots. His dad works for the Mets.
Huge Mets fan.
Yeah, so he may be trying to get his way to New York, and I think the Knicks would love that. And I mean, it would be great for that team. That team's a young, up-and-coming team. But they just, I don't know, they play this treacherous style under Thibodeau, and I think he's kind of similar to Trotz, where that luster wears off after a while. And
it does. It wears thin. But looking forward to jumping into the NBA offseason in a couple episodes, right?
Yeah.
I know we have some things cooking on that. But so just to bring it back to the finals, though.
Yep, let's talk about it.
What, 1-1? Did you see any of the games, or anything surprise you?
I watched a little bit of both games. I was surprised that Boston pulled out game 1. And then the Golden State just took it to them in game 2. And that's more of what I think. And if you look, Draymond played his brand of basketball and I don't know if he got in their heads, but he certainly made himself known on the floor, and he was physical out there.
So you're absolutely right. Game 1 looked like a runaway, right? And then suddenly, White, Smart, and Horford just couldn't miss in the fourth, and they just bum rushed the Warriors. So 1-1 game 3 tonight. I don't know how you see this playing out. I know I called Celtics in 6. I don't think that looks too shabby right now, but it's going to be interesting. Celtics are 6-0 after a loss in the playoffs. Warriors are 5-0 after a loss. Celtics are only 3-4 at home though. So
I think Golden State's going to run away with this. I think that they're going to take this in 5. I think they're going to win the next 3, and
wow,
this is going to be put to bed. And that could be my hatred of Boston. I don't know.
Oh, sure. I want to say for the record, I'm not exactly rooting for Boston here.
Right.
I've actually been Warriors friendly over the years, but
yeah,
I just love how they get in your face though, and they've been getting Jordan Poole out of trouble. I don't know. They Warriors get Gary Payton back though. It's going to be fun, and pay attention to the third quarter. Right. That's when the Warriors just kind of try to go for the death blow.
Yep. And then, like you said, you alluded to, we got our first guest ever coming up in about 2 episodes to talk some NBA draft after this season gets put to an end. So that should be over by, if I'm correct, by the next time we record. So let's go Warriors. Let's end this. Let's end this 2022 debacle of a season so that we can start focusing on 2022.
Well, you got to have like 3 days off in between every game though. So who knows?
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
Keep going on, but yeah, man.
And let's talk about some hockey. So we got the Western Conference Finals now officially over, and we got the Eastern Conference Final in a deadlock.
The Avalanche are waiting. And much like kind of Tampa had to wait for the Rangers, we'll see whoever wins. We'll see if they jump on the Avalanche. But, all of a sudden we're back to 2-2. I don't want to say too much, man, because I don't like our record here on this pod. Like when we say things, when we're confident about things, then things kind of go in the shitter. But it's nice to see that it's 2-2. It's nice to see it's a series. Can Tampa get it done in the Garden, though?
Well, we're going to find out.
We'll find out. But I mentioned that the Rangers jumped on Tampa, and Vasilyev in particular, first 2 games. They tightened up, Tampa did. And as Islanders fans, we're used to this. John Cooper was like, okay, we're gonna fix some things. And the Rangers have not in the last 2 games been that high-powered offense on 5-on-5 at least. Their power play is still deadly.
Yeah.
God damn it, Adam Fox. But what else was I going to say? This is the Lightning, man.
Battle
would not shock me if, like what you said about the Warriors, would not shock me if the Lightning just rip off 2 quick wins here and say, bye.
Good night. Yeah.
Good night.
I mean, they're battle tested. They've been here, done that. The Rangers are the upstart team right now with, and they got a lot of firepower. They got a lot of young. They got a lot of old. But they don't have a lot of playoff experience on that squad, so right. They are definitely getting into uncharted territory. These guys haven't played this many games in a long time, if ever, and these are all intense, anxiety-riddled games, right? So they're on the edge of, just like we're on the edge of our seat watching it. If you're a Rangers or a Lightning fan, they're on the edge.
We know what you're going through.
Yeah, they're on the edge of their bench seat. So.
They got a couple guys. Panarin has some cup experience, I believe. They have Goodrow.
They have a few guys,
Lightning,
but for the most part, they can't sit here and match the Lightning's playoff prowess. No,
probably not. And they have Strome and Hedl banged up. So I don't know. I'm done making picks.
Even Shesterkin, I mean, he's never played this many games. I don't even think in the KHL he's played this many games, right? So, who knows?
Although he hasn't really fallen off. It's not his fault the last 2 games. I mean, especially game 3 where they scored with like 40 seconds left. That's rough.
Right.
But
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
We will take it.
We will take it. We will take it.
One other hockey thing I noticed that was interesting, I don't know if you even picked up on this, but kind of similar to Trotz, the Bruins all of a sudden went out and fired Cassidy.
Yes, I did see that.
That looked like kind of like the same kind of situation we were dealing with.
Same situation. I thought the same exact thing.
And looking at the fans' reactions, like under that tweet, it was like Groundhog Day with Barry.
Yep. He had I think he's been there since 2017, so one more year than Trotz was here, and he had an impeccable record. I believe, did he take him to the finals a couple years ago, and they lost? I read that somewhere, but maybe I'm wrong.
Sounds right.
But he had taken him to the
check
playoffs every year he was in the seat. Never had a losing record. And Sweeney came out. Don Sweeney is their GM, said the same, pretty much verbatim what Lou said. We needed a new voice. I think the team needed a new voice, and they're about to be in cap hell.
I'd imagine
they're about to be in as bad a cap hell as Minnesota is, and now they're starting to. And their top two defensemen, McAvoy and the other guy, I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Both Carlo or no? Because I like Carlo though. He's a great 3. Yeah.
I can't. I'll have to look it up. But they both just underwent shoulder surgery. They're out 6 to 8 months. So I don't know if that's.
And Pasternak's going to be a free agent next year.
So they're saying Pasternak is on the block. They're saying Carlo's on the block. I don't know if Boston deals with us, man. But
no.
And I don't know if they make a deal in general, because if they're making a coaching change with Cassidy to bring a new voice in to get them over the hump, I don't see how you can trade anybody, especially with their top defenseman getting shoulder surgery. So I don't know how realistic.
Same deal with the Isles, right?
Yeah, I don't know how realistic any of that is. So we shall see. But something to keep an eye on.
Very, very interesting about coaches and losing the room and all that. And I don't know if it's just a hockey thing, but when I saw that, I'm like, okay, is there a trend here? Are GMs talking to agents and stuff? I just wonder about that kind of thing. But
I think so. I think a lot of what happened with the Islanders happened after players' exit interviews and a couple days after that. So were they talking to agents? Were they talking directly with players? I don't know. And this one is even farther down the road. I mean, Boston made the playoffs, so I don't know what the time frame from them getting eliminated from the playoffs until now, how much it differs from the Islanders getting eliminated from the regular season till now.
About the same, right? They got bounced in the first, I think, right?
Yeah. So it's probably roughly around the same time, and gave Sweeney some time to digest and see where they were going. And maybe his style grinded on the players too much as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, yeah. Well, Douglas, what else we got going on today? Anything?
Man, I don't know. I don't have any like old school Mets trivia for you today. Yeah, maybe I should have gotten ready with that. But.
That's okay. I don't need to embarrass myself for a second week in a row.
Couldn't remember David Wright.
Oh God! If I was drinking, I would have slammed my entire drink for that one. That was shame on me.
Yeah, that was
shame on me. Oof. Well, Dougie, I'm going on Friday night. I'll report back. Hopefully, there's no injuries, and we'll get some updates on Pete and Marte in the next couple hours here, and take 2 out of the next 4 at the bare minimum, and come home 5-5 on this 10-game road trip. So
10 games.
So Dougie, what do you got to say?
Oh man. So when I do this, it's sometimes out of respect, sometimes out of disrespect. This one is 100% out of respect, and I wish I had seen more of this guy, but there will be opportunities in the future, especially when we trade Barzal and Sorokin straight up for him. That is via Condias, Connor McDavid, best goddamn hockey player on the planet. Wish you had made it to the finals for a couple of different reasons, but just to show off your shit. So props to you, Connor, and props to all you for listening. Thanks again.
Thank you, Dougie, and audience. We'll see you next week.
Produced by Heartcast Media.